The brony phenomenon's kinda passed me by. Aside from the occasional people with pony avatars popping up in my comments section, unlike lots of other TV shows which are fucking inescapable like Sherlock and Stranger Things that people talk about around water coolers, I've barely noticed it. Either it's a culture thing and British people have a reputation for being more repressed and uptight than Americans and the phenomenon's more obvious in the US, or it's that the shockingly high amount of male teenagers or older who've become very attached to the modern iteration of My Little Pony are actually embarrassed to admit in public that one of their favourite shows is called Friendship is Magic and was initially conceived as a glorified commercial for a toy line for little girls. Which I'm not judging, by the way, in case anyone's going to think that. We all have things that we like that other people think is kind of weird. You like your ponies? Good for you, man. Go for it. But you must understand that trying to figure out how this phenomenon's happened from an outsider perspective is pretty difficult. The only comparison I can make is back when I used to stay in and binge watch the British children's puppet show Rainbow on YouTube when I was feeling depressed and lonely at university, aged between 19 and 20. And even then, that was partly in an ironic sense so I could make comedic over-the-top monologues about it on a podcast that I did at the time. But the brony phenomenon doesn't appear to be done with any sort of a touch of tongue-in-cheek that my rainbow habit was done with, and it's very weird to see a phenomenon that somehow manages to cross demographics to such a ludicrous degree. So I went into watching a few episodes of Friendship is Magic for the first time, trying to keep an open mind, thinking maybe it's a similar deal to my rainbow habit, and it kind of is to some degree. We start out with this pony called Twilight Sparkle, who's like an introvert and she doesn't like making friends and studies all the time. And she wants to warn this princess about this evil prophecy or something. And she discovers that making friends along the way is actually a good thing and they help her do the thing she wants to do, I guess. It's very warm, its purpose is there to encourage lonely kids to make friends. It's got a good message behind it. The moral of the story feels like a nice hug. And as much as men don't like to admit it, we do all feel emotional sometimes. And maybe what's happened here is that seeing your peers are really getting into something nice and friendly and realising that, holy shit, it is socially acceptable to show that you have feelings and enjoy nice shit like flowers, puppies, and, alright, brightly coloured ponies designed for little girls. Alright, I can see the appeal of Friendship is Magic on that level. We all need some antidote to the expectations of being a bloke in some way. And some of the animation and plot developments are surprisingly dark for a kids' cartoon. I suppose I can see the relation between Friendship is Magic and the sort of stuff I was into when I was a kid, like Digimon. Whoever's writing these things clearly reads a lot of fantasy. I had no fucking clue that My Little Pony had a lore and a universe and a mythos. The prologue of the first episode is like a retelling of an old folktale from a land where ponies live, and this one magic pony princess brings the day, and the evil night pony called Nightmare Moon is evil and wants to make the night everlasting. Oh yeah, and they do fight a manticore in episode 2. You know, that's a pretty standard fantasy animal. There's all these elements in there that look familiar to me as someone who's watched and read some fantasy stuff, though I'm not sure that this is all deliberate. The bits in there that would appeal to young men, primarily the plotting and some cosmetic elements of the plot lines, sorta arise naturally from the premise of magical kingdom where talking ponies live. Oh, and we need some antagonists in it because it would be boring otherwise. As much as it paints itself like a traditional fantasy in some ways, nothing in this really screams, this is a calculated move, we actively want grown men and teenagers to start taking this show seriously, at least from the first few episodes I watched, and I suppose I failed to see what set it apart, really. Like, why has this gotten ridiculously popular and not pretty much anything else? Because setting the fantasy, inspiration and darkish story elements aside for a moment, while there is a lot of appealing stuff in there is quite a lot of stuff in there that is unappealing to me, grown man and fantasy sci-fi nerd that I am. I suppose Twilight Sparkle's a compelling character who lots of nerds would identify with. She's basically Friendship is Magic's answer to Lisa Simpson, who is the best Simpson in my opinion. But unfortunately, most of the other ponies she makes friends with are a bunch of annoying little twats with character gimmicks, and character gimmicks are usually the Achilles heel of the cartoon primarily designed to market a toy line. When your characters have all got gimmicks, it's really hard not to make them feel one note. There's an excitable ditzy one called Rainbow Dash, one with a southern accent called Applejack, that posh one that likes things to be all pretty that's called... pass. The shy one called Fluttered Shy something or other, Oh, and there's that one that's kind of like Mabel from Gravity Falls if she were a pony and a lot less funny. And the two-part opener is mostly just getting our characters to spout their gimmicks, test out their gimmicks on some friends and enemies they meet like the aforementioned Manticore, a camp Loch Ness monster, and some scary trees. And most of the following episodes I watched have them expurgating their gimmicks some more and the characters clashing, but making up in the end because friendship is magic. Oh my god, I didn't expect that. It's not as though that's the title of the show. The episodes I watched, as said, while they contain nice morals, I did get pretty bored pretty quickly in some of them. Yeah, alright, I was watching the first 5 episodes where they were essentially just testing this shit, but the plots go in a pretty ploddy, predictable direction of introduce idea, the ponies apply their gimmicky characteristics to said idea, nice moral, and everything is wonderful and pretty and lovely. The animation style's visually striking, I guess, and it can be rather inventive on occasion, but if you're really not the intended target audience for this, there's a shit ton of stuff you gotta look past to get at what the bronies are apparently getting from this franchise that you could just be getting elsewhere, guys. You don't really need to make the extra effort for this show. As much as said, I don't actually think it's that bad, the writers are doing good work. It just seems to me like it's a happy accident that they've come out with something that most people would probably watch if they found it while channel hopping one evening, and weren't put off by the fact that it's My Little Pony of all things. But I just can't really imagine how the hell I'd get into this sort of thing if I weren't doing research for a video for my channel to begin with. I'm a bloke, I'm a grown-up. This show is called My Little Pony. I probably wouldn't have given this the time of day if it weren't already popular among people like me. So my question is, where did the whole brony phenomenon come from? How did it develop? I know that people in the comments are going to tell me to persevere with it and that no one likes the early episodes, but here's the thing. The whole "it takes a while to click with you" argument feels like a bit of a weak one to me, and I've totally ignored it with lots of shows before because free time is valuable to me, as it would be for you if you work and commute full time like I do. And if I'm not enjoying something, I don't have to watch it, so I won't, really. Oh, but it takes time to get into. Yeah, but so what? I have free will and better things to do, so if no one's bothering to hook me in, then bye, I guess. This is not to say my attention span is totally gone. If I see inklings of promise in there, then I will probably return out of morbid curiosity somewhere down the line, and I am open to that happening here. It did take me years of scratching my head to get into lots of the weird industrial music I listen to these days, and comparing My Little Pony to Nurse with Wound is a really fucking weird comparison that only barely feels legit. But I'm still just wondering, how did bronies initially get into My Little Pony if it takes a while to get into? I always see people saying in its defense, oh, the later stuff's good, it's different, it's better and more geared towards bronies. But I can't be the only one to point this out. The makers wouldn't have made some changes to appeal more to bronies if the bronies weren't watching it in the first place. And we're now into a chicken or the egg argument. Bronies or ponies, which came first? I mean, it's ponies, obviously. Just fucking admit it, guys. No one's gonna judge you. You like brightly coloured ponies designed for little girls. Other people enjoy equally stupid and vapid TV shows where men shoot other men in the face and say badass things like, killing people and torture is a manly man thing to do. Oh my god, look at me and my testosterone. It doesn't matter, it's just culture. Masculine shit, feminine shit, it's all make-believe, they're just dressed up differently. You don't need to make any excuses for it, no one's gonna stop you. As for me though, yeah, I may return to it if I get time. Actually, you know what, I probably will. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch some more of it right now.
Don't you use your fancy mathematics to muddy the issue. I said I could handle this harvest, and I'm gonna prove it to you.
Wait a minute. Wait, I'm voluntarily watching My Little Pony. Wait, do I enjoy this? Oh my god, I am actually enjoying this, and... Oh god, they've got me!
Yes, Stuart, that's it. Feel the brony pumping through your veins.
Hey, god. What's happening to me?
You will become one with the bronies, Stuart. You will become like us.
No, no. So yeah, in conclusion, Friendship is Magic is the bestest TV show ever made in the world ever, and fuck the haters! Eat shit and die!